Hello guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Maku.
Hello guys, it's Kobayashi.
And today we're going to talk about episode 2 of Blue Lock. Want to go ahead and start it off for us?
Yeah, so the very first scene we get to see a meeting taking place. It's a meeting of of the Japan's national team. Basically there's this girl, she's like, we need to make Japan great.
Yeah, and simultaneously they were just explaining how, I don't know if you guys remember, but in previous episode, the guy, we didn't know if he got eliminated or not. And he ended up actually getting eliminated, which is really weird because he was furious, right? That he got eliminated, telling him, why did you eliminate me? Why did you decide to kick the ball? And Ego was just explaining during that time, oh, you had actually 1 second to choose whether if you wanted to keep the ball or not. And then he started explaining scenarios of a striker, and he formulated it really well, and he ended up storming me off. And then continuously the meeting kept going on, explaining that they need a very good striker. You want to go ahead and continue it off from there?
Yeah, basically the meeting was like, we need an egotistical striker, we need a very selfish guy, we need a star man to lead Japan. And there's only one man who can lead the new youth into this existence.
Yep, Project Mbappe.
Essentially it's Project Mbappe, but in an anime.
Yeah.
And then the very next scene, we get to see the remaining members of Room Z. They're just doing tests. So they're doing like a standing jump test. They're running on the treadmill.
Yeah, just basically assessing their athleticism. And we see the monk or whatever talking to the main character. They're just both on the treadmill, and they're about the same, if I'm being quite honest, in terms of athleticism.
And then we get to see like the monk throw up during the
Yeah.
during his running. And then by the very end of the assessments, they get assigned new numbers. And the monk now, he's 275. Isagi, the main character, is 274.
But there's a catch. There's actually not 300 people left, as you might recall. There are actually people that have got eliminated, so actually they're still last ranked. So 275 is actually the last ranked, which is the monk still, and 274, one above that. So I mean, it makes sense due to the athletic capabilities.
And then to the next scene, we get to see a press conference. And the media is basically asking, what is Japan gonna do to make it past the round of 16 of the World Cup? And then lady earlier, she mentions about Project Mbappe, or in this case, Blue Lock. Seeing how they're creating a egotistical striker. There's 300 candidates living in this facility.
But some people were actually outritten by that because they were saying, oh, how are you allowing these kids to go there, spending so much time and effort just for them to not even be able to make it into some sort to the youth academy?
Because only one out of the 300 will be the striker for Japan. So most of the media, they were just outraged, like Maku said. But then watching from far behind was like this midfielder prodigy, I believe. He was shown earlier in the show. Basically, he wanted no part of Japan's future. Essentially, he's like, damn, why did I have to be born in Japan? Why can't I be like German or somebody?
Yeah, basically it was just saying, these guys aren't even worthy of my passes. So you could obviously tell he's a midfielder. And I guess now he's actually focused on Project Mbappe.
Yeah, by the end of this interview, he's actually intrigued and he wants to see the future of the Japan team. And then to the next scene, we see the guy sleeping in the room, but Isagi couldn't sleep because he keeps on thinking, dang, I'm like the worst out of the bunch.
Yeah, I mean, there was even one point when they were doing the standing vertical test. The guy, he told him, oh, I get it, bro, it's alright. Everyone has their bad days. But in his mind, he said, this is actually the highest I've ever jumped. So he figured, oh, I need to put some extra training in because I'm not as good as these other people athletically. And then that's when he ends up bumping into Bachira, or Bachira actually ends up kicking a ball to him, and he ends up reacting to it. And go ahead and explain this part right here.
So they're just training, and then Isagi asks Bachira, why did you pass the ball to me? And Bachira responds, oh, it's because the monster told me to. And then Isagi was really confused. He's like, the monster? And then Bachira was just explaining what the monster is. Basically, he said, there's a monster inside of me that tells me what to do whenever I play soccer. And in this case, he told me to pass the ball to you. Because he said there's a monster inside of you, Isagi. And then Isagi's like, there's a monster inside of me. And then he's actually quite curious. And they were playing keep away. And then this time, the second time, Isagi releases the monster inside of him a little bit. And then Bachiro notices, he's like, see, right there, that's what I'm talking about. Those eyes of yours.
Yeah, so then that's when he realized, oh, I actually do have something, but I need to know how to keep that on for a very long period of time.
Basically, like, to control it or something. And then the very last scene, we see Ego. He's talking to Team Z saying, oh, you guys are last place, by the way, out of everybody. Because Team Z, their members were complaining about, like, how can we get, like, the bad food, the bad dorms, the bad
everything. So then the monk and the main character, I forgot his name, what was it? Isagi, my bad. So they ended up saying, oh yeah, why are we getting this terrible food? And there was actually a clip of like, we don't know who this kid is, by the way. He might be a random, to be quite honest.
No,
but
I believe he's in his room. I don't know.
Really?
I think so.
I don't think so, because remember they were in the cafeteria, and then they ended up.
It was the white guy with, he has like white hair and black hair, right?
No. So it was actually a different guy. So basically, there was this moment where he nicked one of the guy's food, and he ended up taking it, but he said, return it back. And then that's when the monk ended up saying, oh, I don't need them to steal any of my food. And that's when Isagi said, I don't think they're gonna steal our food, bro. And then that's when Ego proposed something later on in the episode when he said, so we're actually gonna compete in a, what was it, some sort of tournament or how was this?
Basically, they're gonna compete in a tournament where there's 5 groups, but only 2 of the 5 advances. And in the first match, it's gonna be Team Z versus Team X. And that's gonna be the next episode, which is gonna set up.
Yeah, they were all pretty much complaining because they were saying, how? We don't even have a goalkeeper, we don't have a defense, we don't have midfielders. But then Ego was just saying, well, back then everyone was a striker, right? That's what he was saying. And he just kept trying to implement that into their heads that everyone was a striker. Everyone needs to find a way to create goals and create chances for themselves to win each other the game. So essentially, they just want to shoot out, right? And yeah, this is just going to be a setup for episode 3, to be quite honest, as Kobayashi has stated beforehand. And once again, this has been all for episode 2 of Blue Lock. If you guys have any anime you would like us to talk about in specific, please let us know in the comments down below. And as always, my name is Maku.
It's Kobayashi.
And thank you.